Hey everyone, Emily with Bob's Watches. Today we're talking all about watch winders and answering some of the most common questions about them so that you can decide whether or not a winder is right for you. Also, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of our latest video content. So, what is a watch winder? Simply put, a watch winder is a device that keeps automatic mechanical watches fully wound when you aren't wearing them. Automatic winding watches use the natural motion of your arm to wind themselves throughout the day, but in order for them to stay fully wound, they must receive daily wear and use. In order to keep these self-winding watches running on the days you aren't wearing them, they must be kept in motion, and this is where a watch winder comes into play. Winders can come in many different designs and styles. They can either be plug-in or battery-powered, and can either hold one or multiple watches, simply depending on the model. When properly configured, a watch winder simulates the effects of being worn, rotating the watch throughout the day and preventing it from exhausting its power reserve. This means that your watch will always be running and ready to go whenever you decide you want to wear it. So, who needs a watch winder? First and foremost, it is important to note that watch winders only work with watches that feature automatic winding mechanical movements. If you have a quartz watch or a traditional hand wind model, a watch winder will do absolutely nothing, as they are designed to work with a watch's automatic winding mechanism. If you own multiple automatic watches and alternate between them on a regular basis, then a winder will save you the hassle of having to reset your watches each time you want to wear them. On the other hand, if you only own one watch and wear it every single day, then a watch winder may not be necessary at all. And the only reason why you would want to use one would be if your watch was just not receiving enough motion throughout the day to keep it running until the next morning. Additionally, if the only watches you own are simple time-only or time-and-date models, then you may not find it to be that much of an inconvenience to reset your watches each time you want to wear them. However, if you own multiple watches with advanced features such as day-date displays, annual or perpetual calendars, moon phase complications, or any combination of these, then consistently resetting them can become a bit of a pain, especially if you own multiple timepieces. For example, if you own a Rolex Sky Dweller, which has an annual calendar complication, then keeping it on a winder will mean that you quite literally only need to reset it once per year rather than each time you want to wear it. Another benefit of watch winders is that they keep the movement running and lubricants circulating, which can prevent the various oils inside from prematurely drying out or migrating, although this is increasingly becoming less of a factor due to advancements in modern lubricants. However, keeping your watch running and in constant motion is not also without its potential drawbacks. Like anything mechanical, more use simply means more wear and tear on parts, so using a watch winder does put a tiny bit more wear on its internal components, even if it is only on a near negligible level. However, if your watch winder is not properly configured for your watch and is supplying it with far more motion than it needs to stay wound each day, then this can ultimately do more harm than good. So, how do you set up a watch winder? The proper settings for your winder will largely depend on the specific watch that you own. Most watch winders will allow you to set whether you want it to rotate clockwise, counterclockwise, or bidirectionally, and this is because some movements only wind in one direction, while others wind in both. A significant portion of modern timepieces, including all Rolex models and the majority of Omega watches, wind in both directions, but there are some models that only wind unidirectionally. So before you set up your winder, it is first important to check what kind of movement is inside your watch. Additionally, the number of turns per day that a watch requires can differ from one manufacturer and model to the next, which is why most winders have multiple settings for the number of rotations they will supply, often abbreviated as TPD settings. Most watches require somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 to 800 turns per day to stay fully wound, but there are some models out there that need either more or less. 650 turns per day is an incredibly common winder setting, and you will find it or something close to it on the vast majority of winders in existence. For nearly all Rolex watches and the vast majority of Omega models, this setting, or something close to it, will be the one you want to choose. However, certain other timepieces like Tudor and Breitling chronographs with in-house movements need closer to 800 rotations per day, and there are Panerai models that require closer to 850, so it always pays to double check before you set up your watch winder. Some winders simply have a single knob that controls the direction of motion, and these typically use a fairly middle-of-the-road rotation setting of around 800 to 900 turns per day. Others will feature a speed selection switch with preset values that range from a few hundred rotations up to a couple thousand, while some higher-end models feature digital displays so that you can program the specific number that you want. The available rotation settings will entirely depend on the specific model of winder that you own, so if you are at all unsure about what a setting may mean, your winder's manual will be the best place to confirm. So, assuming you do choose to get a watch winder, how much can you expect to pay? Just like everything else in the world of watches, the sky's the limit when it comes to pricing. Prices start out at under $50 for the least expensive single watch winders and go all the way up to several $100,000, depending on the number of watches they hold, the number of available settings, and the materials used in their construction. With that in mind, you do not need to spend a fortune on a winder in order to get one that will work properly for your watch. Ideally, you will want one with a silent and reliable motor, and it is important to first make sure that the winder you choose has the necessary functions to be configured for your watch. However, after a certain point, more money will simply buy you more premium materials and additional settings and features that you may not even need. Unless you own a watch that requires highly specific and uncommon settings, or you need a watch winder with a large number of slots, then a budget of a few $100s should be enough to get you a winder that looks decent and has enough settings to be properly configured for your timepiece. Only you can decide whether or not a watch winder is right for you, and there are advocates both for and against them. However, should you choose to get one, it is important to know what they do and how they work, so that you can make the most of your purchase and take proper care of your watch. Thanks for watching our video on watch winders. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on our latest video content.